Welcome to my YouTube channel if that's where you're seeing this. Otherwise, if you're just friends and family joining me on my social media, hi to you as well. I got some new gear in the mail, and it just occurred to me that I like to watch people unbox things for the photography industry, so I thought maybe I would do that too in case anybody's interested in that. It also just kind of cracks me up because my kids do it with toys, so this is the grown-up photographer version of that. The background is I have some big projects coming up, and I have done a lot of work in the past with kits that I don't feel like are really well put together. They don't go together. They're kind of compromised on. And so this summer I just wasn't willing to do that. In light of COVID-19 and wanting to move quickly and not have major delays based on the things I'm already going to have to be managing by way of hygiene and social distancing, I just couldn't see myself using equipment that didn't meet my needs perfectly or wasn't super user-friendly because of that. So I'm going to open these boxes, and I haven't seen any of them yet. So most of this stuff is from Pro Photo. About a year ago, I bought a Pro Photo A1, which is like a little camera flash that's on the top of the flash. I bought it from another photographer in St. Louis. She was switching over to all Sony, so I don't think it was a referendum on the equipment itself. It just wasn't compatible with what it was that she bought. Ooh, this first box is exciting. I opened a big one first. I don't know why. So this first box is, so I told you, I just mentioned I have a Pro Photo A1. It's this little, I should have grabbed it before I walked over here, but it's this little on-camera flash, but it also can be used a million different ways on light stands or whatever, but it's pretty small and pretty low power, but it kind of changed my workflow. It really was more versatile than anything I had ever used. It was super consistent. It just popped in and out of scenarios really easily. It's also a great handheld, so I was sold on Pro Photo gear. It can be really pricey for those of you who are in the industry, but man, the quality was amazing. So I just invested. Sorry. Because it's just really important this summer. And my projects this summer are good projects. So the kinds of projects that you wait for and you go, well, when these come across, my table, I'll be able to invest in some more gear. So that's kind of how I felt about that. So this is a whole backpack full of goodies. So this is the kit for the Pro Photo B2s, which are power-wise, I think just the next step up from the A1s. I'm not sure there's anything in between. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes if it's not something I'm exactly looking at, I'm not always familiar with all the gear that's on the market. So if you're here trying to learn about everything that Pro Photo sells, yeah, I'm not the person to talk to. I get kind of laser focused on what I need. Okay, I turned it the wrong way because my other backpack opens in the back, but this one opens in the front. So it's cool. It's got this label on it. I probably will cover the label just because I think safety-wise, sometimes I prefer to not have everyone know that whatever's on my back is photography gear just because it's very expensive. So here we go. In the box, what do we got? So tons of cables. So these are the Pro Photo charger power cords. I have those for my A1, so I'm familiar with those. Lithium-ion batteries. These will pop in and out. I'll just open one in case we have the opportunity to put it in place. This is fun. I haven't opened this yet. Ooh, and here's the beauties. Oh, these aren't my B2s. These are my B1s. I forgot my B1s came in a backpack. That's cool. Okay. Wow. I was totally thinking these were the B2s. And then I open them up and I'm like, that's enormous. What is that? These are the B1s. All right. So these guys are super powerful, but still very portable battery powered lights. Super excited about them. My only downside about these is I think I'm going to want more modifiers for them to use them in a more traditional studio context, and I don't have any Pro Photo modifiers right now. I mean, I have things that I can use, which I think I'm going to unbox a little bit of that too, like some umbrella modifiers that can be used for anything, and umbrellas are good for these big guys too, these big powerful things, but I also really like to use soft boxes, so I may end up having to buy some modifiers, some compatibility things. I'm sorry, my brain is just not working with what that's called. What are those called? I'll think of it later. But anyway, something to change all my other modifiers to Pro Photo modifiers. And I'm not sure, I haven't done the research on the best way to do that. I have a Speedotron beauty dish that I've heard is pretty easily modified to Pro Photos. So these guys are beautiful. I'm super excited about them. High-powered lights, but still more portable than I was expecting. Popping in and out of a backpack. That's super sweet. Great spacing in this backpack for the batteries and the power cords. And this is the cap that popped off. I did buy, I think this set, one of my sets I bought used. I should know better. Yeah, it's definitely this set because there's a little crack. So that's a bit of a bummer. There's a bit of crack on it. But, you know, anytime you buy used, there's going to be teeny tiny things about them that, you know, aren't going to be perfect, and that's okay. But I'm going to go back and look and see if that crack was on the list of things about them that made them used. If not, I might actually talk to B&H about that. But we'll see. Super excited about those. Those are an amazing set of lights, and they are going to serve me well. So next, let's open a little guy next. This might be those grip things that I was just mentioning that adapters. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry. I was looking for the word adapter because they make speed rings that'll adapt something like a Pulsey Buff or a Speedotron softbox and allow you to use it on Pro Photo. An unfortunate thing about the photography industry is the gear is not compatible brand to brand most of the time. I mean, a lot of things come with some generic mounts, like there's one called a Bowen mount, if you're not familiar, that can be used with multiple brands. And that's convenient when that happens, but a lot of the brands have their own mounts for their modifiers and softboxes, etc. So you end up having to either get adapters, make adapters, do something to make them work when you change brands. Or a lot of times people just sell it all. They say like, hey, I'm going to be done with this brand and move on to another one. I'd rather not do that. Ooh. Air remote. Pro Photo requires its own remote, which, you know, there's pros and cons about that. I think everything I'm going to say has pros and cons. But the reason is because there's a million consistent remotes out there that I already have that connect my camera to the lights and make the lights flash when my camera clicks. But Pro Photo really wants you to use theirs. And I get that. It's maybe more consistent. It has better range, you know, has a lot of other features that makes it. So I actually already have one of these for my A1, but I bought another one because it's good to have two of everything when you're on a commercial set. I mean, if there's a huge budget riding on your stuff working and you don't have a backup, could be a problem. All right, next box. All right, I'm using a box cutter, but I'm being pretty careful. Actually, this one might be able to be. I just don't want to cut something inside the box. I'm still thinking about that crack in those B1s. I'll have to go back and look. If it's the one that I bought used, it was discounted for being used. And so sometimes they list those things and I just missed it. But I thought the reason that it was a cheaper price was because it was missing a car charger, which I don't really need a car charger. But it might have been on there too. If not, I may send it back. I don't want something that nice and that expensive to have a crack. The crack is what the crack was doing. I don't know if you saw it when I pulled it up, but it was making the cap not securely fit on top. So that would mean the cap would be slipping off a lot, which is a bummer. All right, here's some new grip equipment for me in this box. So some super clamps. I got a nice one, and then I got some cheap ones because I think it's good to have a couple. But I didn't, I have one cheap one already. It's not a super clamp, but it's just like a sort of a multi-purpose grip equipment, and it feels like it's gonna break. So I decided to get one nice one, which is probably about 3 times as much. I think this is about $70. I can't remember. Let's see the damage. It is $60 plus tax. So it might have been around 70 by the time it was all said and done. But this is a really cool thing that when you have to go at a weird angle or you need something to adjust, or in the case that the reason I was really thinking about these is that I want to be able to use these umbrellas that just pop in with these Pro Photo lights that I don't have adapters for yet. And I'm going on a trip soon, and want to make sure that I have the ability to use these B1s and B2s before I maybe know what kind of modifiers and adapters I'm going to need for the ones that I have. So anyways, this is really cool. This clamp feature also is really useful when you're in a situation where you need to have a really wonky setup, like if you're shooting from overhead, if you're shooting with some kind of stand that is not standard to photography, those kinds of things. This is a really versatile piece of grip equipment. Oh, and here's a cheaper version. It's something similar. Oh, I did buy a softbox. I'm so funny when I get online. I did. I bought one 2-foot softbox. That's how much I was like, whoops. That's how much I was like concerned about not having my access to my softboxes. I do a ton of headshots, and the idea of not having one softbox that was an easy usage softbox for that kind of thing really kind of stressed me out. And I guess I forgot that it stressed me out enough for me to buy one. So anyways, that's exciting. A 2-foot octo, perfect for headshots. Not big enough for full body stuff, but umbrellas are great for that too. I also might layer this, so you could do the small softbox pointed at the face and then have a bigger umbrella behind it that would wash light across the body. So I really still might be able to get that pop that I like from a softbox, and then the wash from the umbrella, and the best of both worlds just with the modifiers that I have available. Exciting. I forgot about that. Yay. All right. What else? This one must be my B2s. This one I think is going to be the one I use the most. Based on how much I use my A1s, I really think these B2s are going to be super useful for me. So Pro Photo B2s are a small battery-powered set of lights, but they're powerful enough that they can block out most ambient light. They can be used in a lot of different circumstances. They do probably need to be used fairly close to the subject in order to get the best usage out of them, but 90% of the time I have that flexibility. It's very rare. I was talking to a friend yesterday about a situation where these would not have been appropriate, and he was in this huge psych wall studio here in Knoxville. Some people are familiar with it. It's called HPV. I'm talking about Derek. Hi, Derek. And you know, in order to have these, he was shooting Broncos, like these big trucks, and you just have to have so much power to be able to fill those spaces with light. And these are lower powered than something like that for people that don't understand that. But these are going to be awesome for what I do when I'm companion shooting on a video set. So here in Knoxville, one of the biggest clients is Discovery Network, and I do a lot of work with them. And they'll be shooting a commercial or other kinds of video content, and I'll be, you know, on set as well. And they get their pause from their production, and then I step in and take stills. So that might be food shots or overhead shots of whatever they've styled, or it might be lifestyle shots of a mom and a daughter cooking or whatever. I only have a few minutes to do it, and I can't usually overpower with the amount of time that I have. I can't usually reset up a set. So I need to be able to very quickly step in, use what they're using, and then add whatever I need for photos. Because for photo and video, it's a little different, and I insist on being able to adjust that a little bit for my taste, and I think everybody's happy about it if I can do it quickly. So what my A1 has done for me in the past, and now these B2s will be even more sophisticated version, is they go low power enough to be able to allow me to use the lights that are already there, and then just add what I like, which is usually a little more facial beauty light, or possibly a tiny bit more room light, depending on my crop. Video lighting just is a little lower powered just so that they can save power for how long they have to be under the production gun. They really have to have power levels fairly low so that they don't run out of power. They're not, you know, totally zapping everything. So they keep the power levels relatively low, and also so that they can mix lights with really beautiful highlights and, you know, beautiful room light. And in order to do that, you want to keep your power levels low so you can have some things subtle and some things more powerful. So yeah, anyways, point is I needed low power light. Sorry to ramble. And in fact, there's probably video lighting people who are like, that's totally wrong. Sorry if it is, I don't know. I don't do video lighting. Okay. a lot of noise. All right, I think that's everything in the box. So this is a bag, which is why I had it mixed up with those B1s, because I forgot I knew these came in a bag, but I forgot the B1s then. So I'm gonna cut that bag. How's everybody doing? You know, the other thing I do a lot of that some of the people who follow me know is I do a lot of fashion photography. And I'm excited about the B1s for fashion because I'm going to be able to do a lot of really neat one light setups, but that have the versatility of a battery powered light in case I need to move around a little bit more. In a model testing situation, I often shoot 20 looks a day. And so that means I'm bringing in models that are new models, and I'm updating their portfolios for their agency. So I'll have them come in like 2-hour intervals, and we'll do a bunch of different looks. And so I don't have the same setup all day long. I want my backgrounds to change. I want my vibes to change. And so having the power level to have a big 7-foot umbrella that's easy to use, but also having that versatility to be able to pivot to different spots in the room or to create different looks. So a more commercial look might have more strong lighting straight on. A more editorial look might have a little more of that Rembrandt lighting. A headshot might have a different vibe altogether. So I'm really excited about the way that those will work in the studio. These B2s I'm envisioning using more, it's like 2 bags in one. So it's got this like duffel outside bag that fully unzips on the sides. I'll have to explore that later. And then this one inside that to me looks like a cooler. I like it. It's cool. It feels sturdy, and it feels like the stuff inside will be protected. I fly a lot for work, and I've always used like makeshift weird versions of the bags that things come in, and so I'm actually really looking forward to having some new ways of traveling. I also bought some Pelican cases for this stuff. If you're not familiar, Pelican is, I think I bought some that are Harbor Freight too, though, which is the more generic version. But they are hard-sided, weatherproof cases that allow you to get on an airplane and feel comfortable about taking your breakable stuff. Cool. Battery charger. Connector to the lights. Ta-da. Oh, they're directly connected. I forgot about this. I've used these only in a situation where I've borrowed them from other people. So, oh, that's cool. They're directly wired into the lights. Let's see how this works. Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's so cool. Yeah, okay, so this sucker, here, I'm not doing a very good job showing you. Okay, so here's the lights. This is as big as they get. The modifiers pop on here. If I had known, I might have put together that other modifier. And I've never put together a Pro Photo modifier from scratch, so you might be better off that I haven't. Or I can stick an umbrella right down in there that pops out on this side, and use an umbrella too, which is also a nice versatile thing. And I have a bunch of cheap ones. I don't really ever see the reason for buying a really expensive umbrella. I think maybe just for build quality. I do have one that broke fairly recently, but that must be the biggest difference between the cheap ones. But the cheap ones are so cheap, and they're so simple. You know, the actual optics of using an umbrella is not very sophisticated. It's essentially just bouncing it back. So there's nothing about it that makes it magic if you buy an expensive one. So it's probably less likely to break. Oh, buddy. This is cool. Yeah, so you have your... I'm looking at these things for the first time too. So this is where you pop your battery on. And there's the lights. I probably shouldn't be picking them up that way. This is how you adjust your power levels. Super cool. And you can adjust your sinks. You can put both of the lights popped into there, which is really cool. And these guys, yeah, so here's the batteries. So each one has its own battery, because if I just bought one, it would have come with a battery and one of these control packs as well. That's probably not the sophisticated name for it. There's probably a specific name for it. And then here's this cord. So what we've done in the past when we've used these, is you have this attached to this control panel thing. And it's like a shoulder strap for it. And then you set up your C-stand or whatever your light is on really safely, great sandbags, whatever, something that's going to keep it really sturdy. And then you can kind of hang this from the light stand. And then that way, whenever you need to access it, you can very easily and adjust those power levels. They're really, really versatile lights. I'm super looking forward to it. And just if anybody's curious, I mean, in the past I've used a super wide variety of stuff, but it's always just because it's what I found either cheap or convenient. I started out with some very generic brand I don't even remember. You know, something I bought off Craigslist and it didn't work very well. And the recycle time, which is the time in which each flash turns back on, was really slow. So I'd be ready to take my next picture and I'd have to be like sitting there waiting. So that didn't work out for me. And then fairly soon after that, I bought a couple of Alien Bees and I always liked those. In fact, I still use them. I have a ton of them. People borrow them from me. They're good lights. I just find them to be a little flimsy. They feel like you bonk them too hard and they, you know, you start to hear a rattle, but that's the point of them. They're sort of like student grade lights or early professional grade lights. But I have some that have been working for 5 to 7 years. They just are really good lights for the price. I don't talk down about them. I'll probably continue to keep a few of them in my kit when I need extra lighting. But I did also feel like there was a lot of elements of the Alien Bees ones that, you know, once things break on them, they're hard to replace. Anyways, I just really felt like I was ready for an upgrade. Somewhere in the middle of my career, though, I did buy a Speedotron set from a guy that was going to a more permanent position at a company. So he had all these Speedotrons and 2 power packs, and I was really ready for something more powerful in my studio. Turns out, you know, I'm not really sure I ever really needed the power level that they were capable of. And one of the packs ended up breaking, and I don't really want to replace with the Speedotron stuff because it's a little bit of an older brand that I don't know is as revolutionary. It's definitely not as lightweight as some of the other stuff that I've been seeing come out of Pro Photo and Ellen Chrome and some of the other brands that I think are really trying to appeal to a more mobile photographer in this day and age. But it's great product. I really liked my Speedotron lights. I thought that the color consistency was great. And then I had this funny, and you can still see it if you see pictures of my studio, old hazy light, which is this crazy softbox thing that's a bronze color, and it was retrofitted for a Speedotron head, and it has this like hydraulic up and down, and I'm kind of obsessed with it, and I'll be really sad to see it go. But I used that for a long time in addition to the Alien Bees, and just use them on slave. You know, they will work together just fine. But I'm just really ready for something new. I'm ready for something better. I'm ready for something that feels a little more pro on set. Oh, and the last little thing I might add, just because I feel like if you're made it this far in the video, you're really looking for my opinion. I did try to make the switch from standard Alien Bees to Einsteins with Vagabonds. I had a lot of friends doing that. People I respect and admire a lot doing that. And then they were all giving up their bronze colors and giving up their expensive sets and going to this more inexpensive set and then really liking it. And I just wasn't that crazy about it. I felt like the mobility of it, the ability to use it on the go, wasn't any better than the regular Alien Bees. I do think that it was a step up in consistency and all that stuff, but I had one that started to glitch almost as soon as I got it, and maybe I was too rough with it. It might have been user error. It's totally possible, but I just wasn't blown away. And since they were more expensive, it just felt like this weird halfway between. Like, if I'm going to really get what I want, I'm going to really buy the things that are going to help me grow and help me have exactly what I need on set. And I felt like this haul that you just watched me open is that, and is a good moment for me to just admit that I'll be better off. And I honestly think I might save money in the long run, because instead of replacing things here and there, I'm going to really have the handful of items I really need. My kits are going to be smaller. I'm going to save myself time in pre-production by really knowing which types of lights are going to work in combination. I think it's going to pay for itself. I'll let you know. Either way, I'm going to be happier on set using something that I feel really, really confident about and I'm excited about. So I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And there's a lot of other content on my YouTube channel about modeling, about fashion photography, and I have a great tutorial about model testing if you want to dig in a little deeper with my education materials. So I hope you enjoyed that. Drop me a comment if you have a question. Thanks.